Who has my stuff? Bring it over. There we go. There we go. Yeah, just drop it right there. Where's hey Wyatt, where's that jack, that red thing? All right.
Daddy, we need to give Justice the colors.
It's in the front of the car. Okay.
Justice.
So we're just gonna do an overview of equipment and quick, super quick demos. And then at the end, we're gonna have a longer, there'll be a challenge at the end, and then we'll just go for it. All right, so, this really isn't that stuff. You could probably drive out of this because it got rolled up. So, but no matter the case, when a vehicle gets stuck, and then Mr. Wood's like, hey, I'm stuck. What's number one?
Stop.
Yeah, we're all gonna stop, and we all stay together. And we all work the problem together. And why is that?
So you don't leave someone behind.
Yeah, teamwork makes the dream work. Many hands, light work, the whole deal. The more brains we have involved, the more hands and muscles we have involved, the faster it goes, and also the safer it is, right? Mm-hmm. Especially when it's warm. And in essence, we'll even work in 2 shifts. So when somebody gets smoked, we'll break them, go sit in the shade, drink, go to the bathroom, and then rest for a second, and somebody else can fill in. Even in this sun, with this air temp, but with this sun, you'll be done, and we don't want to tempt fate. Mainly because of how far away we are, right? Our house isn't around the corner for you just to get back and go relax it, right? And we don't want you throwing up and getting a headache. That's hard. Once you get those symptoms, it's hard to get rid of. All right, so what's next? Safety. Second. Pictures first, right? So we'll take a picture of the guy who got stuck, and then we'll use that later to draw little funny things on. So, but safety second, meaning in all things, we'll just pay attention to what we're doing, because there's big, heavy things, and you'll see when we start using this high lift jack, it's going to be under tension, and this high lift jack is always trying to kill you. So, what's the first thing to do to try and get this truck unstuck? Yes?
Drop the engine.
No.
Winch.
No.
Forward drive.
Very good. Warren's got it. Is it in 4-wheel? It doesn't have 4-wheel drive, but we'll assume it does. And
Yeah.
is it in 4-wheel drive, which happens not frequently, but regularly with us? Like, is it even in 4-wheel drive? If the answer is, and so the driver is going to look on his dash, or he's going to look at the shifter and be like, yeah, it's in 4-wheel drive. But just because the 4-wheel drive button is pushed and the lever is thrown does not mean it's actually in 4-wheel drive. So you're going to look at make sure there's no warning lights. Make sure the 4x4 light is lit and not flashing, and there's no warning like that. Or, not this, none of us have them, but there's locking hubs. So on the inside, you're going to shift into 4-wheel drive, or push the 4 high or the 4 low button. But you also have to come out, and on the hub, you're going to turn the dial on the hub, and that's what locks the hubs into 4-wheel drive. Fords use a vacuum system, but whatever. So you can make sure all of those things are complete as well. And if that's complete and it's still not getting out, what's next?
Rear differential lockers.
Tear it out.
Yeah, we won't get into diff locks, but yeah, you can turn on the diff lock, either the front and rear or the center diff lock, and that'll help. We'll get to, that's going to be next. Anybody? No.
What?
No.
Use
No.
the
Max truck.
No. We're going to lower the tire pressure. What does lowering the tire pressure do to the footprint?
gives you better traction.
Gives you better traction, and gives you a little bit bigger footprint in the dirt, right? So we're going to air down, and I aired mine down to 25 or so, which is fine. I can still move fast. I can drive it high if I need to, but it takes some of the rattle out of all those washboards. Really, you could air this down to 10 or 15 and be totally fine. You got to be careful in other ways, but if you have an air compressor, you can just air back up later. So we're going to air down, and we'll try and drive them out. So we're not going to do that now, because if we did any of those things, Mr. Woods would be able to drive out no problem. And we want to get to this stuff. So, what do we want? What are the forces that are keeping this thing stuck?
Gravity.
Friction.
Friction, yeah, or resistance, right? And then weight, so gravity, so the weight of the truck. So how do we overcome those things?
Take all the stuff on the back.
Yeah, if there's a quad in the back, we can offload that. If there's people inside, illegal aliens for one, we can offload them and they can help push or whatever. Right, we're gonna offload those things. We're gonna reduce the weight if we can. If there's a trailer attached, we're gonna unhook the trailer. We'll get the vehicle out. Trailer second. How do we decrease the resistance on these tires? We deflate them, that adds a little bit of resistance, but the benefit is made up from the traction. How do we, Kale, how do we decrease the resistance on the tires? We answered it before, that's why I went.
Take the sand away. Dig.
Yeah, we dig, right? So we get a shovel and we dig out all 4 tires. You can use your hands. When you dig, you're gonna be tempted to be like some kung fu ninja fighter, like, but that is not the time to rush. Just take your time, good shovelfuls, clear it out, and then that'll be that. So that's gonna help reduce the resistance, right? Because it's trying to overcome that tiny little hill right there, which may seem like nothing, but is the truck stuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously that little nothing is inhibiting this truck from getting out. Same thing in the back. And then if that doesn't work, what else can we do to change the friction or change the resistance?
Change it more
We
surface.
add traction, so we'll change the surface. So really what's happening in 2-wheel drive, he's spinning his tires and they're digging. So we can change the surface. We're not going to waste water, although that sometimes that helps a little bit, but we would not do that out here. So we're going to add what? So we're going to add some sort of new surface, so some sort of traction board. What else can we use?
Like a slab of wood.
Anything, right? Anything. 2x4s, rocks. You can go off from the brush. And you see this whole, and this has been done many times. Do you see this thing right here? See this whole thing right here?
Yeah.
It is completely normal to grab this end of it, and a couple guys drag it over, and now you're dragging that whole like 8-foot long thing all the way out, and you're gonna jam it up under one of the tires, right? And then he's gonna drive out on that. The only thing you have to be a little careful of, you don't want some like knob or something sticking up, because now you're gonna have a flat tire. But anything at all, any rocks, whatever. So you're gonna dig it out. If it's a 2-wheel drive truck, where does the traction go?
Where the
Back.
2 wheels go.
In the back, because it's rear-wheel drive only, probably. If it's 4-wheel drive, where does the traction go?
Back and front.
If you can, but if you only had one choice, the front or the back, where would you put it?
Front.
The front, because now, what gets the advantage of the traction?
Front.
The front,
Which is pull.
and then the back when the back drives over it, right? All right, so this is what we're gonna do. Somebody get on the shovel, 3 other people dig out the other 3 tires, and then somebody get a board, somebody else get a board, and 2 people find some brush. And we're gonna try and make that happen. We'll see how it goes.
That-